and welcome to the Wellness with Juanita podcast. I'm your host, Juanita Nagai, an American living in Japan for 20 years. I've gone through some massive life changes and crises in my 20 years here. At its bleakest, I felt very isolated, alone, and helpless in the face of what was happening. I relied on alcohol and cigarettes to get through it the best I knew how, which worked until it didn't, and everything fell apart. I made it through with a little help from my friends, a fledgling mindfulness practice, and learning how to become my own strongest ally. I quit drinking and smoking, worked my way through my grief, found ways to forgive, created new connections, and started a regular exercise, meditation, and self-care routine. I've also become a national board certified health and wellness coach along the way, and developed a desire and passion to help others on their own personal journeys. This podcast is all about change, growth, healing yourself, learning how to get back up after life kicks you down, and exploring mindfulness and self-compassion as incredible tools available to each and every one of us to do just that. Hello, and welcome to the Wellness with Juanita podcast. I'm your host, Juanita Nagai, and today I am coming to you live from the great outdoors, one of my favorite parks. I am coming off of my 5-day at-home silent retreat, and I wanted to share my experience of it and reflections and thoughts, lessons learned, all of that good stuff. However, most definitely because of that experience, I had an almost overwhelming urge to get out of my house today after spending the last 5 days in it in silence. And so I thought I would try to record this episode outside, but we'll see what the bugs and the wind and the other people walking around have to say about that. I am coming just off of the retreat, and I'm still trying to put into words all of my thoughts and reflections and the experiences that I had in it. I am going to start with what will probably turn out to be a series of disclaimers. First and foremost is that I am not a meditation teacher or any kind of expert. This is purely my own personal experience and what I perceived and understood undertaking this kind of at-home retreat experience. So take it with a hefty grain of salt. The second is that I had the thought strike me as I was on retreat that trying to share one's experience of a retreat is probably a lot like trying to explain your dreams to someone else. It's probably not all that interesting to people that weren't in them, and or the kind of impactful, powerful wow moments are probably really only significant to the person having the dream/retreat experience. That thought struck me, I want to say around day 2-ish, when I kind of found myself trying to file away the different things that I was experiencing or thinking about. And I realized that I had this kind of retreat report mental construct going on, where I was thinking, okay, day 1 was all about the mind. And now day 2 is all about the body, and kind of like mentally noting those things to kind of try and hold on to them and keep them ready to be duly reported on this podcast or to my friends or to my family or even to myself in my own journal later. And that's when I had the thought about, you know what? It's probably a lot like a dream. It's not going to be as interesting to anybody else. And that helped me kind of let go of that mental noting. And then I was able to kind of more fully experience and readily accept what was actually happening instead of trying to grasp it and hold on to it. So I think those are the couple of major disclaimers that I wanted to put out there front and center. So saying that, I am glad and appreciate the experience. I do not know how people do a retreat at a center with other people, because I found myself having really vulnerable moments and kind of weeping tears openly and different things like that. I also appreciated the fact that I had the creature comforts of home, that I was able to prepare simple meals for myself, that I allowed myself to take a nice hot aromatherapy bath every night, that I could sleep in my soft bed. So it really kind of struck me, the setting of where I was experiencing the retreat as well. I also understand why people go to retreats in beautiful, exotic, natural settings, because I was so appreciative of being able to do so many of my meditation sessions, either sitting or walking, out on my deck at my house, and just being outside amongst the wind and having the sounds of the birds and the view of the distant mountains and my neighborhood, and the way the sun and the clouds and everything just kind of struck them. The regularity of the train and that sound in the distance, like, I really, really appreciated that I had the opportunity and the ability to be doing it more or less outside. So overall, I am very happy that I did have the experience. But I will be the first to sit here and say, first and foremost, it was really, really hard. Like, it was unbelievably difficult to do that. I sat for over 8 hours. I shouldn't say that. I meditated for over 8 hours every single day, except the last day, in which I did over 6, because I finished in the early afternoon as my family was due to come home. And I found it difficult. I don't think it's an easy, simple undertaking. I would venture a guess, even for experienced meditators. I think probably monks and nuns, that's their bread and butter and what they do. But I imagine some of the struggles that I came up against would be similar for them, because they are human and our mind wants something to do. Oh my God. That first day that I kind of dubbed the mind in my own mind was so incredibly hard. It was crazy difficult. My mind, and I wager all of our minds as human beings, desperately wants to grab on to anything, something. It needs something to do and to occupy itself. It's so incredibly hard to let go, and even returning to the anchor of the breath. Like, that is my understanding of the basic essence of mindfulness or vipassana meditation, is to sit and open up to what is there and return to the anchor of your breath, breathing in and out as many times as you need to, which is approximately every second. So that first day, my mind was just like freaking out, and I was replaying, recent episodes of the TV show that I had been watching the night before I started, and just all of the bazillion machinations of the mind that we do. I later came to think of it as I was really clinging or grasping or holding on tightly to the practice itself. Like I was finding myself rushing through my break times or my mindful meal times or my kind of chores working time. If I hurry up and do this, then it struck me, like if I hurry up and do this and get this done, then I'm just getting ready to sit again. Like I'm not doing anything. I am just practicing being. So what is the rush? What are you trying to do? And I think that's just a manifestation of being a busy working mom in the 21st century. And especially prominent feature of my personality, probably, I think, since college when I was working 30 hours a week and also going to school full time. And I had to get really good at multitasking and time management and figuring out how I was going to do all of the bazillion things that were required of me, which is a great skill to have. And I appreciate the experience. But when all of a sudden you are releasing all of that and trying to just be, and that's it, it's really hard. And my mind was struggling and freaking out and trying desperately to cling to whatever it could think of. Anyway, so that was kind of my first and strongest impression. And I think that changed throughout the course of the retreat, but it definitely came back more than once. And I think that's just what our minds do. And so those of you that are listening that are maybe not meditators or have tried it and feel like you're not doing it right because you can't calm your mind down or you can't follow your breath, none of us can. That is what the practice is. I think the essence of the practice is to release the self-recriminations and perhaps self-judgment, that feeling of, well, I can't do this, I'm not doing it right, so it's not working, and to open up and allow that is what's happening, and so that is the practice, and to say, this too, and then go back to the breath. If you notice yourself getting swept away in whatever thought tunnel or, random association thing kind of going on. So you're not doing it wrong. That's just the way our minds work. So the second day was what I thought of as the body day, became the body day because I woke up an hour before my alarm at 4:30 and I had such a massive headache. It actually made me so nauseous that I had to get up and actually physically throw up, and was luckily able to take some pain relievers after that and go back to bed. And I just thought, well, this is great. Here's day 2 of the retreat and I'm ill. However, I decided to just be really gentle with myself and to say this too, and accept that this is part of it. Everything belongs in the retreat. Whatever happens, happens. And I was just really gentle with myself the next morning. And I was able to get up and sit. And I just took it really, really easy. And I kind of was just on repeat in my brain all day. It was just like this body, and just trying to be gentle with this body and really feeling into the physical sensations of when I was walking. When we're doing walking meditation, instead of using our breath as an anchor, we're trying to feel into the physical sensations of our legs and our feet as they take those steps very slowly back and forth. And so it really kind of struck me as the body day. I also think that though day 2 was when I kind of started to let go of the retreat reporter mind, because I also remember thinking, okay, this body, but then it kind of morphed into the world, as I was appreciating the natural world that I could see all around me from my neighborhood and all of this. And part of my schedule that I had created for myself was to listen to a Dharma talk every night. I'm glad that the universe had my back and I chose wisely with the Dharma talks by Jack Kornfield that I had pre-selected without watching them, but I had chosen and had them saved on my YouTube, on my television, so that I could just easily pull them up. And the Dharma talk that I had listened to the first night was about how we want to be of service to this world, this amazing, miraculous, natural world that we are part of in our physical, temporal, limited bodies. So that's as much of the report part that I can actually properly kind of remember to share with you, because like I said, after that, it kind of started to meld into the time is trippy, dreamlike quality of letting go and not trying so hard and attempting to kind of hold my meditation or hold the experience, as it were, with a gentle, light touch. I think that's kind of the insight or the revelation or whatever you want to call it that kind of came to me. Like, just the whole point is to be here with what is. So just let go of trying and reporting and mental noting what you're going to tell people about later, and just be with what is. And so in saying that, the next 3 days, 3 or 4 days, I wouldn't say that they're a blur necessarily, but it was over 8 hours of sitting and walking meditation and just saying, hello, planning, hello, thinking, hello, scheming, hello, imagining, hello, memories, hello, shame and self-recrimination, hello, past versions of myself. And as all of those different things came up, my practice was to say that hello to them in that way, as Jack Kornfield was talking about in one of the Dharma talks. It's kind of like a mindful respect of everything that is coming up, or everything that is. They are all teachers and they are all a part of it. So it was just kind of like the bowing to hello, thinking, hello, planning, hello, past versions of myself, hello, deep wounds and painful experiences, and hello, pain in my body, talking about this body. I cannot believe how painful in how many different places it becomes simply sitting still. I was able to meditate for up to an hour in sitting meditation more than once. I started at 45 minutes and then challenged myself up to an hour at various points. But I think I did actually sit in one position for 45 minutes, maybe. But I needed to move at least once. There were a couple times, being totally honest, especially towards the end. One day, the very last session, I was just like, I cannot do it anymore. I can't sit in either of the two sitting positions that are comfortable for any amount of time. I just can't. My body is angry at me. And so I had a mindful mom meditation session, as I thought of it. And I just got in my hammock chair. I closed my eyes and just listened to the birds tweeting and the wind blowing and the evening sounds of the neighborhood all around me. I just could not sit anymore that day. And my very last day, same thing. My last day, my last session, my body was just done. I was just so sore and it was so painful in my upper back. It wasn't even my knees or my lower back. It was all these weird places and positions. So I laid down. I allowed myself to have my final session for an hour, laying down, spread eagled on my bed, and just put my hands on my chest and my belly to feel my breath that way. I felt like that compassion was appropriate at those times. I had a few profound moments that are only significant to me. So I will keep those to myself. If you're curious or a friend, please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to share for the public record, as it were. I don't think it's really important to talk about here. But I will say overall, I think what came up, at least for me, at least in this experience, again, this is just one specific retreat experience of one specific person, me. I feel like what was already or is already present came up louder and more amplified. And I was pleasantly surprised that the overwhelming majority of that was love. So much love for my family, my children, the world, the fact that I am part of it, for my childhood home and family. Just overwhelming bushels and bushels of love and gratitude and deep, deep appreciation and thankfulness for where I am now and the fact that I am here now. And I think that it is so significant, and it was such a powerful, important, potent reminder for me, because I have not always felt like this. This has not always been my baseline. And as those of you who have known me for a long time, or even relatively recently, that know anything about my story at all, will know that very, very recently I've had a series of deeply painful, sad, it felt like tragedy upon tragedy. And so the fact that what came up the most was love and gratitude and deep, deep appreciation and wonder and beauty, that part of it, I think, is the passage of time and the natural rhythm and flow of life and the universe and all of that. But a large part of that is because of me and what I have done and the work that I have done. And I don't mean to say that in a pride, arrogant, or boastful way, but in a very sincere, honest, thank God I found the path that I did and that I'm on, and that I found a way to turn towards all of that pain and all of that suffering and find a way through it and find a way back to myself and find a way to what I feel like is my calling, and find a way to feel in flow with this cosmic universe, natural order of things, and just to be here now in the middle of all of it, to be my small little spark in this vast cosmos. Just so much love and so much appreciation. That feels like an apt place to end on for this episode. It was an intense experience. It was a lot all around in many different ways. A lot of sitting, a lot of meditating, a lot of thinking, a lot of emotions, a lot of discomfort, a lot of pain, a lot of love. I will say even a lot of insight, but I do honestly feel like any insight that I may or may not have gleaned from the experience was more a reminder or a remembering of things that I already knew to be true and important and deeply meaningful for and to myself. So it's not like there was some flash from above or some kind of crazy divine intervention or anything like that. I'm really so deeply appreciative and thankful to my husband and my children for making it possible. They all had a wonderful time as well, and I think it was good for all of us to have that time apart. Not only do they appreciate me very much and my role in the family, but it was good for my husband as well to be with the kids. And he also had a kind of reminder of so much love and how important our family is to him. And so I'm glad that he was able to have that experience as well. So for today's takeaway, I'm not going to advise you to sit a silent retreat for 5 days. If you are interested and, again, curious about any more details, please do reach out. You can always send me an email or send me a direct message on Facebook or Instagram. I am more than happy to talk about the experience more and in more detail. But what I will say and what I will offer as a takeaway to today's episode is this idea of creating even a little time and space for yourself. It doesn't have to be 5 days of silence or 8 hours a day of meditation. But can you give yourself 5 minutes? Can you give yourself even 1 minute? Could you give yourself more? Can you find 10 minutes a day or even 30 minutes once a week to slow down and connect to yourself somehow or another? Whether that's being creative or journaling or even reaching out and actually talking to a friend. I think what I've noticed in this not even one full day after coming off of the retreat is that, my God, there is so much to do and everything is coming at us all at once. I noticed this morning just getting the kids and myself ready for school and the day. No wonder it was such a shock and such a contrast between normal life and what I'm always doing. I'm juggling and multitasking and doing so many things all at once because that's what modern day life is demanding of us. But that's not how we're meant to be. I don't think we're also meant to be just being in silence and in that kind of solitude. I think that the heart and soul and the meat and juice or whatever of life is finding a balance somewhere between the two. And that is what I'm going to strive to do from now on. But it is just a lot. I mean, we're constantly doing 10 different things all at once. At least I am. I'm hanging up the laundry as I'm finishing making breakfast, as I'm trying to get a tea bottle ready, as I'm changing my son's clothes. I mean, it's nuts. Just for an hour in the morning. It's just crazy how much we do all the time. We have to because we live in modern day society, right? So I think that's all the more reason to recognize that and to recognize that our mind is always on autopilot 80% of the time or even 100% of the time. And to think about, okay, is that the way I want to live my life though? Do I want to be able to just chill and listen to the birds and feel the breeze and come back to myself, even if it's just that 1 minute or 5 minutes or 10 minutes every day? I think it can be so rejuvenating and so important. And if you can give yourself that 30 minutes once a week to connect to yourself somehow or another, it just is what makes life worth living and not just this constant struggle and hamster wheel of doing to collapse into an exhausted heap at the end of the day. So tell me what you thought about my thoughts today. I'm very curious if this is even airable with the wind and the birds and the people all around me. I'm curious to hear what you think. And I thank you so much for listening. Until next time, take care.